Greetings, this is Darth Vader, and I would be honored if you would join me as we explore how my fate and the fate of the entire galaxy would have changed if I had told Padme about my temptation to join the dark side. Let us go back to that fateful day when I crash-landed the Invisible Hand on Coruscant after killing Count Dooku. Padme pulls me aside to tell me of her pregnancy, and I am excited to hear about it. But then I put my hands on my head, and I break down, and I tell her about my psychological struggles and how I feel the dark side growing inside of me. She looks at me, puts her hand on my shoulder, and recommends that I talk to Obi-Wan about it, saying that I can trust Obi-Wan. And that is when I look at her and say with a straight face that today I lost faith in not only Obi-Wan, but every single man that I was supposed to trust in my life. And that in doing so, I feel as if I've lost a piece of my identity and my direction. She asks me, what do I mean that I lost faith in Obi-Wan as well as every other man around me? And that is when I tell her that Obi-Wan, who spent years lecturing me about how to be a good Jedi, goes and gets one-shotted by Count Dooku, proving how unreliable he is despite all of that lecturing. And that I also lost faith in the only father figure in my life, Palpatine, because he sadistically told me to leave Obi-Wan to die, even though there was no logical reason for me to do so. And the fact that he would even make such a recommendation means that I no longer see him as a benevolent grandfather. Instead, I kind of see him as an old creep, and I don't trust him any longer. What if it had been me to get knocked out on the Invisible Hand? Would he have told Obi-Wan to leave me behind? That is a major breach in trust. And then there's Yoda, who callously stood there about to sentence Ahsoka, my Padawan, to death. I basically have no trust in the entire organization that I have spent my entire life defending, and for that reason, I feel no pull from the Jedi anymore. They have no credibility in my eyes, and as a result, it makes me crave one thing and one thing only, the one thing that they have denied from me. That is strength and power alone, but I know that too much power can corrupt. I then tell Padme about the vision I had on planet Nelvon of the dark side overwhelming me and taking me over, of me becoming a black cloaked figure of darkness and metal. I tell her that I don't want this future for myself and that we need to just run away from the galaxy because I am tired of all the noise. I look at her and tell her that if I have to fight one more meaningless battle to defend creepy old men that I cannot trust, I am going to flip and I am going to lose it. That is when she looks at me in the eye and says, "Come away with me, Annie. Let's escape all of it. I just want your love. I don't care about power. I don't care about the Senate. All I care about is having a family with you." I hold her face in my hands, give her a big kiss on the lips, and tell her that is a beautiful idea. That is definitely something that we should do. Without much ado, we wind up faking our own deaths, escaping to the lower streets of Coruscant, hitching a ride on a random spice freighter, and leaving the galaxy for parts unknown so that I can collect myself and we can pretty much just drop this whole useless republic and form our own lives together. Now, obviously Obi-Wan is devastated by the idea that I had died, but Yoda doesn't give a damn because he's a sociopathic goblin frog. He just gives Obi-Wan some meaningless advice about how attachments are not the Jedi way, and that when people pass into the Force, we should just rejoice for them. So after the galaxy funeralizes me as well as Padme, we set sail for our journey. The first place that I go is the Cave of Evil on Dagobah. There I confront the darkness within myself. I walk into the cave, and Anakin Skywalker has a fierce confrontation with Lord Vader. They have a fierce fight back and forth. At first, I take the advantage because I am younger and more athletic. However, his mechanical strength and his brute strength as well as his experience in the Force overwhelms me. That is when I let go. I drop to my knees and realize that this battle isn't about physical strength, it's about spiritual strength. And that is when he's about to land the killing blow, and I sit there knelt saying, I accept the future. I am not going to try to change what I cannot change. I love myself, and I am only going to change the things that are within my power to change. I am not going to try to fight against fate when it's not necessary. I accept the way things are going to be, and I will just make the world a better place. That is when I stand to my feet, and the visage of Darth Vader evaporates, and there is only Anakin Skywalker, spiritually stronger, renewed in the Force, even more wise than before. For the first time in my life, I have something that I never had before, and that is self-esteem and inner peace. And my strength in the Force grows as a result of it. I later go on to study with the Barrandov sages of Keldor and learn their mystical wisdom. Then I go to planet Korriban. Notice, I said Korriban, not stupid Moribond because that's not real. And then after that, I go to Dantooine, all along collecting holocrons from both the Jedi and the Sith, deepening my knowledge beyond either faction and beyond any power that they could ever dream of. I go to Rakata Prime and learn about the old ways from remnants of the battle there, as well as studying through the Force the power that Darth Revan held. And I saw what he was trying to do, wield both sides of the Force to find a power beyond them. However, given that he was not the chosen one I am actually able to finish it all the way and gain a power outside of the Jedi or the Sith. I cap off my beautiful journey by taking a meditation session with the space hippie buffalo. After we have spent a lot of time together, I can hear the galaxy breathing. I can feel the life pulsing within the Force. I can see the battles going on without being there. It's as if I am there because I can sense what's going on around me for billions of light years. Meanwhile, back in the Republic, Obi-Wan gets sent to Kashyyyk. Yoda stays behind and tries to interrogate the Emperor instead of me being there, because I am not available for the Jedi Order to use to spy on the Chancellor. And Kit Fisto gets sent to fight General Grievous. And unlike any other what-if scenario in here, Kit Fisto actually wins a fight. He manages to kill General Grievous. However, once Order 66 starts, he quickly gets decapitated by getting shot through the neck, and that's the end of him. After that, Mace Windu and Yoda are left to defend the Jedi Temple from the clones, and there are so many there, it ends up tiring them out. At the exact same moment, Padme goes into labor, and she gives birth to Luke and Leia, and she survives the entire ordeal. Her and I are holding our children when all of a sudden I feel a major shift in the Force. I can hear a wound in the Force. I hear sickness in the galaxy. Like when I said that I could hear the galaxy breathe, the galaxy's breath is labored. It is groaning in despair. I then see visions of Palpatine, of all the evil that he could do, plans to do, and will do if I don't stop him. That is when, with a renewed determination, I decide to return back into the galaxy to confront this great evil. I go into the Jedi Temple, and while Yoda and Mace Windu are occupied defending the younglings from clones, Palpatine joins and starts stabbing younglings in the back. He is about to kill Soros Bandim when I jump into the fray, and I unleash a flurry of attacks upon him. I am even able to dodge his attacks, and I am able to slam him against the wall multiple times. I have a power he cannot understand. He reaches out to force push me, but his hand doesn't respond. He doesn't know what's going on, but I am using my power in the force to override his. That is when I create shadow clones of myself, and each of them has the attack power of the original version of me. They are all able to gang up on him, and he is barely able to defend himself. He gets slammed into the wall again. That is when I coalesce back into one, with a power that he cannot even comprehend. He is attacking me, but I can dodge all of his attacks on instinct. I have an ultra ability to act on instinct and dodge every single attack that he throws at me. He tires himself out. That is when, once his stamina is drained, I have had enough, I force push him to the ground and slice him in half. With his dying breath, he attempts to use essence transfer. He enters into my mind, trying to take me over, but this was literally the worst possible move he could make because I achieved inner peace and self-esteem and strength over my mind. I am no longer the bull in the china shop that he once could control and manipulate. Instead, I know who I am, so inside of my mind, we have a psychological battle for control over my body, kind of similar to in Star Trek when Lore and Data were fighting over who gets to control Lore's body, but in the end, I win. I subsume Palpatine. His body vanishes, and there is just me. But it's more than just myself. I actually was able to absorb and dominate Palpatine's mind, effectively drinking his mind and making him part of me. I now understand the galaxy as he did. I have unlocked all of my potential as well as his. That is when Yoda walks up to me, and grateful to see me again, he offers me reinstatement into the Jedi Order as well as the rank of Master. That is when I look at this little green sociopath, resisting the urge to just make a soup out of his face with my fist. And I tell him, Master Yoda, the term master means a teacher. What I am cannot be taught. Therefore, I will not be joining your organization any longer. The Force has greater need for me. So I retreat to Endor with Padme, and because of the way that I can perceive the Force, I now become something of a galaxy-shaping entity that is able to even bend world events to my will. That is how I manufacture peace in the galaxy. When back on Naboo I told Padme that people should be made to agree, I am actually now able to make them agree, but in a harmonious fashion, not a dictatorial one. I am able to manipulate the events in the galaxy such that Padme, as Queen Amidala Skywalker, becomes the queen of the galaxy in place of Emperor Palpatine. Leia is able to grow so much in the Force that she single-handedly uses her great power in the Force to wipe out the Yuuzhan Vong before their invasion is complete. Luke and I reach our full potential and we one-shot Abeloth, essentially destroying the dark side of the Force itself. And we live happily ever after, just outside of the galaxy, but shaping the events that happen therein. I am something of the positive ending for Mortal Kombat 11, where Liu Kang becomes the shaper of destiny after he defeats Kronika. I sort of become a cosmic entity like that. And now, of course, that makes dinner time with Padme a little bit awkward sometimes because she just wants to talk about the flowers and what she did that day. Meanwhile, all I want to talk about is the galaxy. So I have to come off of it and be a little bit more human. But the galaxy is shaped in the way that Skywalker would have it to be. And that is what would happen if I told Padme about my dark side. Let me know what you think in the comments below.